Black twins harassed by cops. In bar, not knowing one is captain and the other SEAL commander. Rain slid down the window like thin silver veins, tracing the neon glow of a half-forgotten bar at the edge of town. Inside, two men sat quietly, Marcus Reed and his twin brother Adrian. Their posture calm, their suits neat, their eyes steady. Men who had seen storms far worse than this one. Laughter from the corner table broke the rhythm of the blues playing softly on the jukebox. Three off-duty cops, Travis Hale, Donnie Walsh, and Kyle Turner, watched the brothers with mocking grins, their words slurred by alcohol and arrogance. The tension in the air shifted, subtle but sharp enough for everyone to feel. A waitress froze mid-step. Miguel Santos, the bar owner, exchanged a nervous glance with Marcus. Travis pushed back his chair, boots scraping against the old wooden floor. The room fell silent as he walked closer. "You two look like you don't belong here," he said, his smirk widening. Marcus lifted his gaze slowly, calm, controlled, dangerous in his silence. And in that moment, the night changed forever. The sound of rain outside faded beneath the hum of quiet conversation. Marcus Reed watched the bubbles rise in his glass, his reflection trembling in the amber liquid. Across from him, Adrian leaned back against the counter, scanning the room the way soldiers do. Calm eyes, reading exits, calculating distance, measuring threat. The brothers had served their country for almost 15 years. Marcus, once a Ranger captain, had led teams through the chaos of Fallujah. Adrian, a Navy SEAL commander, had vanished behind enemy lines more times than most men ever dared to dream. Tonight was supposed to be different. No uniforms, no orders, just peace. They had come here after a military ethics seminar in the next town. A simple drink, nothing more. But in places like this, peace was fragile. At the far end of the bar, Travis Hale leaned over his beer, pointing with his chin toward the twins. His voice was a drawl soaked in whiskey and ego. "Look at them," he muttered, "like they own the place." Donnie laughed weakly, avoiding eye contact, while Kyle, younger, eager to belong, joined in. Miguel Santos, the bar owner, polished the same glass for the third time. He had seen this pattern too many times. Off-duty officers drinking too long, speaking too loud, picking the wrong targets. They wore their badges like weapons, even when the uniforms were gone. Marcus sensed it too. The way silence broke unevenly, how laughter followed them when they moved. Adrian said nothing, but his hand rested near his phone, camera quietly on. It was not fear, it was discipline. A soldier's instinct to record truth before it was rewritten. Travis rose to his feet, bumping Donnie's shoulder as he passed. "Watch this," he whispered, swaggering toward the counter. He stopped beside Marcus, close enough for the sour scent of alcohol to fill the air. "Where you two from?" he asked, voice casual but sharp beneath the surface. Marcus did not look up, just passing through. "That right?" Travis said, tilting his head. "See, folks around here like to know who they're drinking with." Adrian finally met his eyes. "Then maybe ask instead of assuming." That tone, calm, precise, almost polite, cut through Travis more than any insult could have. Donnie shifted uncomfortably in his seat, glancing at Miguel, who subtly shook his head as if to warn, "Not tonight." But Travis was not a man who took warnings. He laughed, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Assuming? I do not assume. I see two guys dressed too clean for this bar, acting too proud. You some kind of hotshots?" Marcus turned, slow and steady, meeting his stare. "We are just men trying to have a drink." The music seemed to die out. Even the rain outside went silent for a moment. Then Travis smirked. "Men like you think the rules don't apply, huh?" Adrian's jaw tightened. He had seen this look before. In checkpoints overseas, in faces that believed power meant control. Miguel stepped in quietly, placing a coaster between them. "Travis, maybe let them enjoy their night. Everyone's had enough for one evening." Travis ignored him. "Relax, Miguel. Just making conversation." But it was not conversation anymore. It was performance. For his fellow officers, for his pride, for the illusion that this small-town bar was his territory. Donnie finally spoke. Travis let it go. "They're not bothering anyone." "Shut up, Donnie!" Travis snapped without looking back. Marcus's voice broke the tension, low but firm. "You are right. We are not bothering anyone. But you are." The line hung in the air like a loaded weapon. Adrian placed his glass down gently. His phone's red light blinked once. Recording. Kyle shifted uneasily, realizing too late that this was not the kind of fight they could control. Miguel's heart pounded. He had seen what happened when Travis got angry. Broken chairs, bruised faces, reports that disappeared by morning. But tonight felt different. There was something about these brothers, the way they carried silence like armor, how they did not flinch under threat. Travis leaned closer. "You trying to threaten me?" Marcus did not move. "You are threatening yourself." The bar door creaked open as a gust of cold air swept in. A few heads turned, expecting the night to reset. It did not, because inside that little bar, the balance of power had already shifted, not in words, but in presence. Miguel caught Adrian's eyes, the smallest nod passing between them. Both knew something was about to unfold, and for the first time that night, the silence was not fear. It was warning. The night air outside the bar was colder than before, sharp, carrying the metallic scent of rain-soaked asphalt. The neon sign above flickered open in red letters that pulsed like a heartbeat. Marcus and Adrian stepped out quietly, their boots echoing on the wet pavement. For a brief second, it seemed over. The brothers exchanged a look, one that said, "Let it go, just walk away." But the sound of boots behind them stopped, that thought cold. "Hey!" Travis's voice cut through the drizzle, rough and commanding. "Hold up a second." Marcus exhaled, his breath clouding in the night. Adrian did not turn. He had heard that tone before, in checkpoints, in ambushes, right before things turned ugly. Travis and his men stepped into the parking lot light, badges now visible on their belts. Authority cloaked them like armor. "Let's see some ID," Travis demanded, stepping closer. Marcus turned slowly. "We have done nothing wrong." "Did I say you did?" Travis shot back. "Just asking questions. You two looked a little suspicious in there. Thought we should check things out." Adrian's voice was calm even. "Suspicious for having a drink?" Donnie shifted uncomfortably behind Travis. "Travis, maybe let it go. They're just—" "Quiet, Donnie," Travis barked. "I'm talking." Marcus's tone stayed steady. "You are off duty. You have no reason to stop us." Travis smirked. "Reason enough when strangers come into my town acting like they own the place." Rain began to fall again, thin, cold threads that gleamed beneath the streetlights. Adrian slowly lifted his phone, the small red dot blinking to life. "Just so you know," he said evenly, "this is being recorded." Travis laughed, but it did not reach his eyes. "You think that scares me?" He stepped closer, invading Marcus's space. "Show me your ID, soldier boy." Marcus did not move. "No." The single word hit harder than a punch. Travis's jaw clenched. "What did you say?" Marcus repeated, quieter this time. "No." And then Travis grabbed him. The contact was sudden, a flash of motion, the sound of fabric twisting. Marcus's reflexes kicked in, but years of training held him back from striking. He simply steadied himself, eyes locked on Travis's hand, gripping his arm. "Let go," Marcus said quietly. Adrian's tone sharpened, his voice like a blade. "Travis, you are making a mistake." Donnie stepped forward, heart pounding. "Travis, stop!" He's not resisting, but Travis shoved him back with one arm. "Stay out of this, Donnie." From the doorway, Miguel appeared, phone pressed to his ear, expression grave. "I'm calling the sheriff," he said, voice trembling but clear. Travis turned, rage flaring. "Put that phone down!" When Miguel did not move, Travis shoved him hard. The bar owner stumbled against the wall, his phone clattering to the ground. That was the moment everything shifted. Adrian took one step forward, slow and deliberate. "Enough," he said. His voice carried no anger, only control, the kind that made soldiers freeze mid-action. "You are out of line." All of this is on camera. The rain fell heavier now, streaking down Travis's face like sweat. He glanced at the glowing red light on Adrian's phone, realization flickering behind his fury. Donnie's chest heaved. "Travis, please. We'll lose our badges if you—" But Travis's pride drowned out reason. "He disrespected me. He thinks he can talk down to me in my town." Marcus stood tall, soaked but unbroken. "Your badge is supposed to protect people, not feed your anger." For a heartbeat, no one moved. The air was electric. Every drop of rain seemed to hang mid-air, every breath heavy with consequence. Miguel crouched, reaching for his phone again. His fingers trembled. "Sheriff," he whispered into the line, "you need to come. Now! And then, headlights cut through the darkness. A car rolled to a stop at the edge of the lot, tires crunching over gravel. The sudden light painted everyone in stark white and red, shadows stretching across wet concrete. Travis froze, eyes narrowing as a car door slowly opened. Adrian's phone captured every frame, the rain, the fear, the faces caught between duty and shame. For a moment no one spoke, only the sound of the engine idling, the hum of tension too thick to breathe through. Then a voice, low and authoritative, broke the silence. What exactly is going on here? The story had just crossed the point of no return. The car door opened slowly and a figure stepped out, heels clicking against wet pavement, a dark coat flowing in the wind. The headlights framed her like a silhouette of calm authority. "Everyone step back," she said firmly. Her voice carried through the rain, steady and unshaken. Travis turned, his anger fading into confusion. "Who the hell are you?" The woman reached into her coat, flipped open a badge, and held it where the headlights caught the seal. "Assistant District Attorney Jordan Pierce," she said. "And I have seen enough." Her tone sliced through the air, sharp, professional, and final. The chaos that had been spiraling seconds ago suddenly froze. Jordan walked closer, eyes scanning the scene. Marcus standing tall, Adrian holding his phone steady, Miguel trembling near the wall, and 3 officers caught between guilt and defiance. She stopped in front of Travis. "Let me be very clear," she began, her words precise. "I just witnessed harassment, abuse of authority, and attempted assault, all recorded on multiple devices." Travis's face twitched. "You do not understand what happened here," he said quickly. "They were resisting." "Enough," Jordan interrupted, her calm tone now colder. "Do not insult me by twisting the truth. I saw everything from my car. You and your men crossed the line." She turned slightly toward Adrian. "You have this on video?" Adrian nodded, steady as stone. "Every second." Jordan gave a short nod. "Good, keep it safe. I will need that for the report." Donnie swallowed hard, rain dripping from his chin. "Ma'am, it got out of hand. We did not mean—" Jordan looked at him for a long second, her expression softer but still firm. "You always have a choice, Officer Walsh, and tonight you chose silence until it was too late." Donnie's eyes lowered, shame coloring his face. Marcus finally spoke, his voice low but clear. "We asked to be left alone. We showed restraint. That is all we did." Travis sneered. "Restraint? You think you can walk into my bar and—" Jordan cut him off again. "Your bar? You do not own this town, Officer Hale, and certainly not this bar." She turned toward Miguel. "Mr. Santos, you witnessed everything?" Miguel nodded, clutching his phone tightly. "Yes, ma'am. I have it all, and so does my staff. Security cameras caught the whole thing." "Good," Jordan said. "Send copies directly to my office. And make sure one goes to the local paper before anyone tries to make it disappear." The words hung heavy in the air. Even the rain seemed to quiet for a moment. Travis stepped forward, desperate to reclaim control. "You cannot just walk in here and—" "I already did," Jordan interrupted again, her gaze steady. "And if you take one more step toward me or anyone here, I will make sure your suspension turns into a lifetime ban from law enforcement." For the first time that night, Travis faltered. His jaw tightened, but his eyes darted, to Donnie, to Kyle, searching for support that was no longer there. Kyle's hands shook at his sides. He whispered, barely audible, "She's right, Travis. We went too far." Travis turned on him. "Shut up, Kyle!" Jordan's voice snapped again, commanding attention. "Enough!" She looked back at Marcus and Adrian. "Gentlemen, may I have your names for the record?" Marcus straightened his shoulders. "Major Marcus Reed, United States Army." Adrian followed. "Commander Adrian Reed, United States Navy." The effect was instant. Silence swallowed the parking lot. Donnie's mouth fell open. Miguel's eyes widened. Even Travis took an involuntary step back. Jordan's gaze hardened. "So you chose to harass 2 decorated military officers on camera? That will look good on tomorrow's news." Travis's voice cracked with disbelief. "You are lying." "They cannot be—" Adrian's tone was ice. "You think we need to lie about service? You can verify it yourself." Jordan turned to Travis with the faintest trace of disdain. "You might want to start thinking about your defense, Officer Hale, because this, all of this, will be reviewed by Internal Affairs before sunrise." Travis's mask of arrogance slipped completely. "You will regret this," he muttered, his voice trembling between threat and fear. Adrian's eyes met his, calm, cold, and final. "Not as much as you will." The rain poured harder now, washing away the pretense that had filled the night. The flashing neon behind them flickered red, reflecting off puddles like spilled blood. Jordan took one last look at the officers, her words deliberate and measured. "I suggest you call your union rep because by morning this parking lot will be the start of an investigation, one that will not end quietly." She turned toward Miguel. "You did the right thing, Mr. Santos. Make sure that footage gets out." "Truth should never hide in the dark." Miguel nodded, voice low. "Yes, ma'am." Jordan gave the brothers a respectful glance. "Major Reed, Commander Reed, I will be in touch. You both handled yourselves with discipline. Most men would not have." Marcus's expression remained calm. "Discipline is what kept us alive." Adrian added quietly, "And it is what will end men like them." The headlights dimmed as Jordan stepped back into her car. The officers stood frozen, drenched, defeated, and silent, as the sound of her engine faded into the distance. In that empty lot, something had shifted. Power no longer belonged to the badge. It belonged to the truth, and it was already spreading. Red and blue lights tore through the darkness. Sirens echoed against the walls of the quiet country bar as 2 patrol cars pulled into the lot, tires splashing through puddles. The sound was sharp, final, like the arrival of consequence itself. Marcus and Adrian stood side by side, motionless beneath the pouring rain. Miguel stayed near the doorway, soaked but unshaken, his phone still recording. Jordan Pierce stood in the beam of the headlights, coat whipping in the wind. She raised her voice just enough to be heard over the sirens. "Sheriff Daniels," she called out as the first officer stepped from the car. "We have a situation. 3 of your men just crossed every legal and moral line in the book." The sheriff froze when he saw her. "Jordan Pierce?" "Adia Pierce." "That is right," she said. "And I am filing immediate reports of misconduct, assault, harassment, and obstruction of justice. Everything has been recorded." The sheriff turned toward Travis, Donnie, and Kyle. His jaw tightened. "What in the world have you done?" Travis tried to speak, but the words stumbled out. "They were provoking us." Jordan stepped in, cutting him off. "Save it. Your excuses are already outdated. The footage is online." Travis blinked. "What?" Jordan gestured toward her phone. "Someone live-streamed the entire confrontation. It is already spreading across social media." As if on cue, a phone buzzed. Then another. And another. Donnie glanced down. His screen flashed with notifications, clips, headlines, angry comments. "Oh my God," he whispered. "It is everywhere." Kyle's face drained of color. "This cannot be happening." But it was. Across the town, and far beyond it, the story had taken flight. The brothers' calm defiance, the abuse of power, Jordan's intervention, all of it captured, shared, dissected in real time. On one side of the split screen, the rain-soaked parking lot glowed beneath flashing lights. On the other, feeds filled with hashtags and outrage. Corrupt cops exposed. Reed brothers. Justice in uniform comments poured in like a tidal wave. This is why people fear traffic stops. Those men stayed calm while being harassed. Heroes. Finally, someone caught them on camera. Miguel scrolled through his phone in disbelief. "It has over 50,000 views already," he said softly. "People are sharing it everywhere." Travis stared blankly at the wet ground, his breath heavy. "They cannot do this to me," he muttered. "They cannot ruin my name like this." Jordan crossed her arms. "You did that yourself, Officer Hale. Actions have consequences, even when you think no one is watching." A deputy approached her quietly. "Ma'am, what do you want us to do?" "Process them," she said. "Standard procedure. Breath tests, statements, and confiscate their service weapons. This investigation will not wait until morning." Donnie's phone buzzed again. He looked down. His wife's name flashed across the screen. He answered shakily. "Donnie?" Her voice broke through static and tears. "What did you do?" "Our daughter saw the video at school. Everyone is talking about it." Donnie's voice trembled. "I made a mistake." She whispered, "A mistake? You just lost everything." He could not answer. The line went silent. Kyle leaned against the patrol car, burying his face in his hands. "I was just following orders," he murmured. Jordan's eyes narrowed. "That excuse has never saved anyone in court." Marcus finally spoke, his voice quiet but resonant. You were supposed to protect people like us. Instead, you treated us like enemies. Adrian stood beside him, rain running down his face like tears he refused to shed. We served this country so men like you could wear that badge with honor. You chose to disgrace it. Travis looked up, eyes bloodshot. You think you are better than us? Adrian met his gaze. No. But we remember what the uniform means. You forgot. The sheriff sighed heavily, gesturing to his deputies. Get them out of here. As the officers were led to the patrol cars, the parking lot fell silent again, except for the hum of engines and the soft beat of rain. Miguel stepped closer to the brothers. I never thought I would see something like this here, he said. You handled it with so much control. Most people would have fought back. Marcus glanced at him. We have fought enough battles in our lives. This one did not need fists, just truth. Jordan approached them once more, her voice calm but warm. You did the right thing by not reacting. You let the world see the difference between anger and integrity. Adrian nodded. We did not destroy them, he said quietly. They destroyed themselves. Jordan gave a small approving nod. That line belongs in tomorrow's headlines. The sheriff looked down, shaking his head slowly. I will be cleaning up this mess for months. Jordan turned toward him. Then start tonight. As the patrol cars pulled away, their sirens fading into the distance, the brothers stood in the rain, not as victims, not as heroes, but as men who refused to bend. The night that began with mockery had ended in truth. And the truth was louder than any badge, brighter than any flashing light. Across the world, people watched and remembered two calm men who chose dignity over anger, and won. By sunrise, the story had already escaped the small town. It was everywhere, flashing across TV screens, news apps, and trending pages. Anchors repeated the same words again and again. Off-duty officers caught harassing decorated military twins, full footage viral. Clips from the video played on national news. The rain, the red lights, the calm defiance of Marcus Reed, the unwavering silence of Adrian. America watched in disbelief. Major networks invited experts to discuss systemic accountability. Talk shows debated police ethics. For once, the country was not just angry, it was listening.
Within 24 hours, the mayor announced an internal review of the police department.
Within a week, 3 resignations followed, and within a month, 15 officers were suspended pending investigation. The police chief faced the cameras, his expression grim. We failed our citizens, he admitted. That ends now. Inside Miguel's bar, the once dim neon glow now lit a line of visitors waiting to take photos by the counter where it all began. Journalists came. Locals who had stayed silent for years finally spoke. Miguel kept a printed sign above the bar. Silence helps the wrong side. He poured a drink for a tired-looking traveler and said softly, This place used to be just a bar. Now it reminds people that truth still works, if someone has the courage to hold it steady. Jordan Pierce became a familiar face on every major news outlet. Her voice, calm and unshaken, told the same message wherever she went. Justice only fails when people stop demanding it. The governor personally commended her office. A month later, she was nominated for state attorney, the youngest in her district's history. Meanwhile, Marcus and Adrian received an unexpected call from Washington. The Pentagon wanted to speak with them. At a private meeting, officials asked them to help design ethics and accountability programs for joint police-military training. The brothers accepted without hesitation. Their new mission was not about combat anymore. It was about rebuilding trust where it had been lost. Adrian told a group of officers during one of his first sessions, "The badge is not power. It is responsibility. It means you are trusted more than most, and you must earn that trust every day." The room stayed silent. Some nodded. Others lowered their heads. The message had landed. One evening, months later, Marcus sat alone in his apartment, the television flickering quietly. A reporter spoke over archival footage from that rainy night. Tonight marks 6 months since the viral video that changed a small town forever. The screen showed Travis Hale, now in a courthouse jumpsuit, being sentenced to probation and community service. Donnie Walsh had left the state. Kyle Turner worked as a night clerk in a gas station. Marcus watched without anger, without satisfaction, just clarity. Adrian walked in, setting 2 mugs of coffee on the table. Still thinking about them? Marcus nodded. A little, but mostly about what comes after. Adrian leaned back. We cannot fix everything, but we showed what happens when the right people refuse to stay quiet. Marcus looked at the news ticker, his reflection soft in the glass. His voice was calm, almost like a whisper. Arrogance always ends where truth begins. Outside the window, city lights shimmered. The sound of passing cars replaced the echo of sirens. In that silence, there was no victory or defeat, only transformation. Two brothers who chose dignity over anger had changed a system that once ignored both. And in a world filled with noise, their calm had spoken the loudest. 6 months later, the noise of that night had faded into memory. But its echoes still lived in every headline, every policy change, every quiet conversation about justice. Inside a small roadside diner on the outskirts of town, the morning rush hums softly. Coffee machines hiss, plates clatter. A man in a plain uniform walks between tables holding a worn notepad. His name tag reads Travis. He moves slower now. No badge, no power in his stride. Just the weight of what he lost. Every pour of coffee feels like a reminder. Every polite smile from a stranger feels like mercy he does not deserve. On the wall-mounted TV, a familiar voice fills the air. The news anchor introduces, "Today, Major Marcus Reed joins us to discuss his new initiative for ethical policing." The camera cuts to Marcus, calm, confident, wearing a uniform that now carries more than rank. It carries credibility. He says quietly, "Respect isn't taken by force. It's earned through integrity." The diner falls silent. Even the cook pauses behind the counter. Travis's hands tremble slightly as he sets down a cup of coffee. His reflection shimmers in the glass. Tired eyes, hollow pride, and a man haunted by his own choices. On the screen, Adrian appears next, addressing a hall full of young cadets. His tone is steady but filled with purpose. True authority means serving the people, not controlling them. A flicker of emotion passes over Travis's face. He looks at the screen for a long moment, then turns away, quietly wiping a counter, his eyes heavy with regret. The camera pans toward the TV one last time. Marcus's closing words linger. Justice has no color. It only has consequences.